Anytime you hear the word new, it means that you are moving from something that is old. It speaks of the fact that something was once there, but that thing has become old. So if I say it's new, I have experienced a difference from that particular thing I'm experiencing at that moment. So when we say new year, it means that there was an old. So when we step into a new year, you take time and you breathe a sigh of relief. As we step into a new season in the next few minutes, if you understand what I'm about to share with you in a few minutes, you will first of all take time and breathe a sigh of relief. A sigh of relief that you have just been transported from the old into the new. That you have been relocated from the old to the new. Now, if it is new, there is a reason why it is called new. And that reason is called time. Somebody say time. Time is the demarcation between the past and the future. Time is the bridge between the old and the new. When God created time in Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, if I have time to look at all of this as quick as I can, if you can help me, media. Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. When God created time and God said, let there be light in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. To divide the day from the night. And let them be a sign, a season, day, and years. So when God created time, He broke it into parts. He broke it into signs, seasons, days, and years. So when I transport from one year to another, it's a sign that a certain time has elapsed and a new time has emerged. Is somebody still here? It's a well-known fact that a certain time is over. But now it's a new season, a new time, a new day, a new month. Now, I was just talking a few minutes ago. I said, this is actually very strategic. Today is the last day of the week, the last day of the month, and the last day of the year. In the next few minutes, make it the last day of your tears. I don't know if I'm talking to somebody here. In the next few minutes, make it the last day. Somebody, there is a need to take an advantage of a season. Time has given up and time has been projected. The year ends and another year begins. The Lord separated them into seasons, into signs, separated them into day and into years. So if time is the factor, sir, that demarcated days, seasons, and years, that means time must be very essential. Is somebody still here? If time is a factor that demarcated seasons, that demarcated days, so I can only say it is New Year. Now, whether you like it or not, you will not say Happy New Year until it is 12 o'clock. That simply means consciously or unconsciously, you are responding to a time. Is somebody still here? So if time is what give birth to the new and put an end to the old. That simply means time must be very essential. Time must be very powerful. Time must be very useful. Time must be very glorious. Stay with me a little. It's important that you understand one thing we have in common, sir. There is one thing we have in common. As we step into the new year, you might be richer than me. You might be much educated than me. You might have it all, and I might probably don't have nothing. But one thing we all have in common is time. Is somebody still here? God will give us all 365 days of the year. He will not give me 200 days and give you 300 days. We are all entitled to time, the same time, the amount of time, the same quantity of time. So what does that mean? So one thing is common between us: time. So as I step into the new year, the good part of it is that God is about to allocate to me time. Another 365 days. What will I want to do with it? Follow me. This is important. What do I want to do with it? What exactly do I want to do with the time? Time is allocated to man. Ecclesiastes chapter 8 verse number 3 quickly. Ecclesiastes chapter 8 verse number 3. I'm trying to run through this because there's something I want you to catch here before we proceed. Ecclesiastes chapter 8 verse number 3. Do not be hasty to go from his presence. Do not take your stand for an evil thing, for he does whatsoever he pleases. Do not be hasty to go from his presence. Do not take your stand for an evil thing. Do not be hasty. Ladies and gentlemen, while we are unveiling a new season, it is important that you know that the amount of time you spend in God's presence become the amount of power that you have to show to your word. Amount of time that you spend in God's presence, the amount of time, it might look as if it is not as beautiful as it's being said, but every moment in God's presence is a preparation of a greatness that is about to be unveiled. So Ecclesiastes was speaking here. It said, do not be hasty. Do not be hasty to go from his presence. Find time to stay in his presence. In 2023, the best use of time is to glorify God in his presence. The best use of time, I want to say this again and again, it is the amount of God you carry that you sow to your word. When you are handicapped of God, when you are bankrupt of him, many times powers play you to the left and to the right because of the amount of him that existed in you. That's why the other day, is it Joshua now? He said, I will not go from here if your presence will not go with me. He realizes that destiny respond to his presence. He realizes that the race is not for the swift, the battle is not for the strong, but he understands that time and chance happen to them all. So he got to a point, he said, oh Lord, if I must go further, your presence is my desire. I don't know who is here this evening who is saying, oh Lord, I don't want to step into 2023 with without your presence. I want to be a carrier, a distributor, an investor, an incubator of your presence, because the amount of God's presence that is available in your inside is what the word eventually submits to. The word does not submit to your eloquency, they don't submit to your education, they don't submit to your prowess, they submit to the presence of God. I stand on this altar before you leave this house. God will baptize you with his presence. I say God will baptize you with his presence. I say God will baptize you with his presence. God will baptize you. Do not be in haste. Find time. Thank you. Find time to be in his presence. Find time. Sir, I told them here on Tuesday, on Thursday and Friday. I said it again. I want to repeat it again. In 2023, be intentional with God. Don't make a promise you will not fulfill. Don't start up a project with God that you can't continue with. Be intentional. If you want to spend 30 minutes with God every day, say, Lord, I have made up my mind. In 2023, I'm going to spend 30 minutes with you. Things will come to take that 30 minutes from you. Do you know, the moment you plan to be with God, that's where a lot of things show up. That's when a lot of distractions begin to project themselves into your life. The reason is simple. Because they understand that the amount of God's presence you carry, it is the best of you to be shown to your word. So they want to deny you. So they project distraction. So that distraction takes you away from the presence of God. But ladies and gentlemen, do not be in haste to leave his presence. One thing is sure, in the presence of the Lord there is fullness of joy. There is fullness of joy. Job 14 verse 5 to 6. Job 14 verse 5 to 6. Quickly, Job 14. Time is allocated. Job 14 5 to 6. It says, since his days are determined. Take note of this. It says, since his days are determined. Since his days are determined, the number of his months is with you. You have appointed his limit. Sir, can I say this? Time is precious, but time is not always there. Can I say this? There is a limit to time. Let me say it. You have 365 days. In your 365 days, as you step into 2023, you have 365 days. But what you do not know is, in these 365 days, how many days do I truly have? Look at what the Bible says. It says, since his days are determined, and the numbers of his months are with you. You have appointed his limits. God appointed his limit. Sir, it is time to rise, because there is a limit to your days. Listen, a few days ago, somebody was projecting concert someone wanted to hold. Concert he was supposed to hold towards the end of the year. And he died sometime in November. And he had a lot of concerts. And while the whole world was shouting, sir, there is an appointment of time. You must understand that the Lord has appointed limits to days. But let me take you further. So that he cannot pass. He appointed a limit so that he cannot pass. But look at what happened. In verse number 6, he said, look away from him that he may rest. Now that you know man doesn't have many days, look away from him that he may rest. Till like a hired man, he finishes his day. Can I say this? The moment you were born into this world, you were a hireling of God. You are born to fulfill a purpose. And end of the year is a time to ask yourself, am I still in purpose? Is somebody still here? Did you hear that word? It said, you are like a hired man that must finish your days. That you are designed by God to finish his purpose for your life. You were hired like a hireling designed to fulfill a purpose. Sir, this time you think you have, it is best utilized in God's purpose. Anything outside purpose. So end of the year is an opportunity to retrace yourself back. I said, am I still fulfilling purpose? Am I still living the life that God have destined for me? Because it's an opportunity to rewind, to put yourself together and tell yourself where you want to go and where you don't want to go. In Psalm 94 verse number 4, quickly. In Psalm 39 rather, Psalm 39 verse 4. Psalm 39 verse 4. Psalm 39 verse 4. Lord, make me to know my end. Make me to know my end. When a man said, Lord, make me to know my end, you know what he's saying? He's actually saying, Lord, reveal to me my purpose. Because purpose is the end of a product. So when a man said, Lord, make me know my end, he's saying, make me know my purpose. And what is the measure of my days? Take note. Anytime there is an end, there is a measure of days. Somebody didn't get that. See, you don't have all the time. No man has it. Anytime there is a purpose, there is a measure of days. Nobody is too young to manifest. And nobody is too old to be there. There is a measure of days. Yours might be 100. Another might be 40. Another might be 25. But the good part is discovering your end on time is the beginning of your manifestation. So David was saying, make me know my end. Your prayer tonight, Lord, make me know my end. What is your purpose for me for 2023? I'm not here because I need a new car. I need a new house. I want to buy it at everybody around me. While you are making all your plans and take God out of it, that's where you find out that all your lists never come to pass. Because all of them is about you. No one reflects God. You are not saying, God, see, sir, ma, do you know if the day you buy a car, for example, you just buy a car, the first thing, if you are telling God, let me use the word buy. If you are trusting God for a car, the first thing you should say to God is, Lord, now that this idea has come to my head, what is your purpose for that car? If you want to see God manifest quickly over your desire, ask him his purpose concerning your desire. Because things doesn't just drop in people's head. It is God sometimes that breathe upon people. Suddenly you start thinking of certain things. While you are trusting God for that thing, ask God, what is your purpose behind it? Sir, God is not involved. He has no purpose. Anything purposeless is God aside. If that your business don't have purpose, then God is not there. If that your relationship has no purpose, you are just taking time. Look at what he said. Lord, make me know my end. I don't know who want to pray that prayer tonight. See, sir, if you know what your end is, you will know. He said, make me know my end. And what the measure. Now, because there is an end, there is a measure of days. So when David was praying, he said, Lord, make me know my end and make me know the measure of days, that I may know how to frail. That I may know how to fray. What was he saying? That I may know how to walk with it. Because certain decisions are taken because I know what my end is. When I know my purpose, there are certain decisions I will not take. Is somebody still here? If I know what I'm to do, there are certain decisions I will not pray. I will not take. There are certain prayers I will not pray. There are prayers you might pray this year might not be the will of God for you. Father, as we step into 2023, bring us into our purpose. Hey, that's where a lot of church folks begin to ask, are you sure That's what we really want now. Pastor, I've been trusting God for a new car. Why don't you say that? Hear me. God does not finance your car. He finances his purpose. I'm talking to you because this is what God said I should tell you tonight. God does not finance your dream. He finances his purpose for your life. If your dreams are not in line with God's purpose, you are on your own. So when you have a dream, ask God, what is your place in it? It's when you find God in your dream become a shooting star. It's when you find God in your dream that it becomes the beginning of your manifestation. It is when you find God in your dream that suddenly you find out that lines are falling for you in pleasant places. From nowhere, men are calling unto you. You are asking how. It is God aligning with your vision, aligning with your dream. I don't know who I'm talking to tonight, but I come in the name of Jesus. There is someone in this house. There is someone in this house that the Lord is bringing into their purpose. The day you find your purpose, it becomes the day your life began. I don't care the life you are living now. It is your purpose that defines your life. Is somebody still here? It is your purpose that defines your life. And the Lord asked me when I was praying, he said, are they still in their purpose? You are in America, right? Are you still in your purpose in America? You just got a new job, right? Are you still in your purpose in the job? You just found a new beautiful thing to do. Are you still doing your purpose? New Year is an opportunity to put yourself on a scale and ask yourself, am I still in God's purpose? Rise on your feet. Am I still in God's purpose? At the end of the day, what separates boys from men is a life of fulfillment. Fulfillment is not the fulfillment of a great dream.